Curtis Hill is here. He's a lawyer, consultant, speaker with the National Center for Public Policy Research. A return guest, Curtis Hill, on the live line. Hi, Curtis.
Hi, Paul. How are you?
I'm doing okay. How's it going?
Good, thank you.
Good, good. So Ford's DEI program, shareholders kind of peeking at it, huh?
Well, Ford, like many corporations, has fallen to the political side of things, not necessarily from a profitability standpoint. And so we, as shareholders of Ford Motor Company, which is a fine company that creates quality products, we're simply saying that if you're going to maintain DEI programs, you need to pass them through the same financial scrutiny as you would any other initiative, and test it out for its value as business value and its return on investment.
Yeah, because DEI is dead. It really needs to be, because I want the best person in the job. I don't care how old they are. I don't care how young they are. I don't care what color they are. I don't care what. I don't care if they're 41 different things. I just want the best person in the spot.
Well, DEI is on the run. I wouldn't say it's dead yet. It's on the run because it certainly has taken a different political turn with groups, with the White House and the Department of Justice rules regarding merit processes. They're taking a good hard look at it, and certainly from pushback from our organization, Ford is softening its rhetoric, but it's not necessarily changing what they do. They're instead of coming out with a bold DEI named program, they'll call it something else, belonging or talent products, or something benign, but it still has the same offensive tone because it takes race and places it front and center in all of its decisions.
Yeah, and that's ridiculous.
Well, it's not only ridiculous; it's illegal. I mean, the idea that we use race, we don't want to discriminate by race or gender, but we do so. If we do it for the so-called right reasons, then they seem to make sense, and it's not really helping anybody. What's happening is these companies like Ford are checking the box to send out a signal that they are racially conscious or sexually conscious or gender identity conscious, but it really has nothing to do with building good products and building good profitability for shareholders.
Okay, so where are we at right now? Is there a proposal to change things, or what's happening?
Yes, well, we submitted a proposal yesterday at the annual meeting, and our proposal is very simple. To pass the authority to the audit committee, Ford already has an audit committee that checks its initiatives for business value, and apply the same financial standards to the DEI programs as they would any other initiative. In other words, check it out for an actual business value over a social or political engineering value. We think that's a fair way to assess whether or not the shareholders are getting what they bargained for in terms of cost measures and analysis. Ford's response to that is, well, we've been doing this through comprehensive reviews, and we're saying that's not enough. Simply reviewing the process and taking no action doesn't give shareholders any kind of calm or understanding of what's going on. There needs to be an actual business analysis to determine what the cost is, and is the cost outweighed by the value.
Okay. So this would be a really good idea for Ford to jump onto. I mean, this needs to happen.
Yes, it needs to happen because it's the right thing to do. Ford and other companies don't need to be involved in social engineering. That's the bottom line. We're saying that the DEI programs are no good. That's not what our proposal is. Our proposal says if you're going to put an initiative together, whether it's DEI or any other proposal or any other initiative, simply apply the same standards for your shareholders' sake. Tell us why this is profitable. Tell us why this makes good business sense. And if it doesn't make good business sense, you need to scrap it.
And right now, I think most people are under scrutiny for DEI. I mean, it's not just Ford, so I want to make sure that that's very, very clear. But
correct.
It is something that needs to be looked at seriously, because if you could be sued for one thing for leaving somebody out when they have a better resume than somebody else, and you don't hire them, or they had a better reason for being there, more years, more experience, whatever the case may be, and then you give it to some young somebody because they fit some sort of narrative. You can't do that anymore. I mean, it's just I hate to say the word unfair because I hate the word fair because life isn't fair. But when it comes to business and shareholders and making money, y'all want to make money.
Well, there's no actual link between diverse hiring practices, and superior performance. These things are feel-good measures. Diversity in and of itself is not a bad thing. Equity is not a bad thing. It's just that they have been perverted to mold into things that are not real. Ford doesn't take these actions because they believe that they will actually improve. They take these actions because it sends a signal to the community that they want to impress that they are with it, that they are politically correct. And political correctness has no place in profitability for shareholders. And that's the message that we're sending to Ford and other companies as well by our actions at the National Center. If you're going to engage in these processes, you owe it to your shareholders to explain why it's profitable. And if you can explain how it's profitable, we have no beef. But if you can't explain it, then you have some really serious things to do in terms of straightening out your processes and removing it from the equation.
This is so widespread that it's amazing to me that this hasn't been a thing sooner, to be honest with you, with not just Ford, but with so many different entities across the nation who are practicing DEI. It's even being taught in schools. I mean, it's become almost like a plague. But we need diversity, absolutely, but we also need merit to be part of a decision. And I've said that repeatedly because it matters. So if you're somebody who can't do the job and you're hired to do the job, it's going to cost stockholders money because profitability is going to fall because you've got people in there who aren't the right ones for the job.
Well, that's exactly what's happening. It's happening in businesses. It's happening in governments. And one of the reasons that it's happened so prevalently in America in the last 10, 15 years is the signal that it gets from Washington, D.C. If you have an administration that is supportive of these types of politically correct activities, then that's a nod to the government in power at that time. What you're seeing now, some of the pushback that's coming on DEI now, is a direct reflection of what's going on in the Trump administration and their focus on merit approval. Mm-hmm. That is a factor in a lot of these companies like Ford softening their position, as I said, but the softening of the position is only a red herring because they're still engaging in race-based practices under the guise of improvement, or gender policies under the guise of inclusion. And you have to ask yourself, what does a gender identity process at Ford have to do with building a superior Ford 150 pickup truck?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it comes down to. And as a shareholder, I want to know why those billions of dollars that you're spending on these initiatives is not coming into my account as a shareholder. Why are we paying for this political program when you're a vehicle manufacturer?
So the National Center for Public Policy Research takes a peek at things like this, always has. It's very nonpartisan. It's very free market and independent conservative think tank. But how long do they have to figure this out before steps are taken?
Well, the shareholder meeting was yesterday. I anticipate that the board is opposed to the proposal, of course. So it's an uphill battle. But one of the things that we get by going forward with our proposal is making people aware, making other shareholders aware, and building coalitions of interested parties that can help to defeat DEI initiatives in Ford and other companies, and that's working. We're seeing this increasing all over, and when we see outcomes such as Southern Poverty Law Center's indictment a couple of weeks ago, that's a perfect example. There's several big corporations that had been making contributions to the Southern Poverty Law Center, believing that was a civil rights organization that was doing great political work, and now they're under scrutiny for fraud and other factors or other misdeeds. that's a reflection on the corporations that have been supporting them. And that's the reputational risks that you have by engaging in these types of political activities without regard to what the profitability standards are.
Got to make it happen. Curtis Hill, we're out of time. Lawyer, consultant, speaker, National Center for Public Policy Research. Where do they go to learn more on this, Curtis?
Nationalcenter.org has more information on all the things that we're doing with the Free Enterprise Project, Project 21, Able Americans. So go to nationalcenter.org.
Love it. Thanks, Curtis.
Thank you, Fawn.
Bye-bye.